Hello, I'm Jacob Anderton, and I'm talking to Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
Everyone, welcome to Hellblazer Biz. I have the honour and the delight of the company of Jacob Anderton this evening, or this morning, to hell, whoever's listening. It might be morning, it might be evening, it might be good night.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Cover them all.
Yep, they're all over the world. So yeah, thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you joining.
Yes, always pleasure to be here. Absolute pleasure to be here. I'm excited. This is good. I've been listening to your podcast quite a lot recently. Obviously, Patrick was talking to you the other day, and then Neil was yesterday.
Monday I had a chat with Neil. Yeah, that was a good one. Was it Monday? Yeah,
no,
no, we've already been through this, and I can't remember the day. See, this is what I've got. Yeah, it's Monday.
Yeah, this will be the problem. Yeah, it's the same as me. But no, yeah, I've been scrolling through your back catalogue, must be said, just over the last couple of days.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it.
Excellent. Yeah, I wouldn't get too hopes up too much there.
That's like a pre-warning that I give anyone going into any project.
Yeah, keep your expectations really low, and you might be.
And then I might impress you. Who knows? Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. Yeah, we'll have a good chat. I've still got some questions here, some thrown in. I've put together. I've obviously got some ones. I believe your family might have sent one in or two, and there's one. I know a couple of them were jokes, but there's one I want to. Well, they're all funny ones, but there's one I definitely want to be able to get an answer to because it intrigued me. So we'll talk about that as well.
I mean, that is just the prime example of what my family are like. You know, you put out a genuine question. If you go, has anyone got any nice questions? And then the only questions that were sent in that I could see were all from my family members, all of which were just taking the absolute Michael out of the situation, which is, that's classic. I couldn't fault. I was actually working with an ex-friend of mine, and I was just showing him, just going, "Oh, there's another one.
Yeah.
Uncle Dick's joined in now. There you go." Classic.
Yeah, I think the first question which came straight through was when you're going to get a proper job, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's standard. That's standard. Yeah. They like it. I mean, I think they mean well.
Excellent. So, talking of proper jobs, what made you decide to go into acting?
Oh man, I don't know. Well, I've always done it. You probably hear that all the time, but I have always done it. When I was primary school, my mum still talks about me doing, the various plays and what have you that the school were doing. And then, I sort of continued it on through high school and then sixth form. And then it got to leaving sixth form. And I don't know, I was a little bit sort of conflicted. I knew I wanted to do acting. I wasn't sold on drama school as an idea. So I ended up going to university and doing a degree in acting with script writing.
Okay.
And then, I found that interesting. I've never been... I wouldn't say I'm a great writer. I quite enjoyed it, but I didn't find that much of that I had a natural talent for it. So then when I graduated, I started going back into looking at acting and stuff, and it started to tick over a little bit. So so I sort of just followed it from there. But for me, it's just always been a way of expressing yourself. And then I suppose the other big thing that's a part of it that my mum again always said was, I've always had a sort of overactive imagination, even since I was tiny. So I think that's probably just it's probably just being able to continue playing make believe. I think that's probably what it is. Yeah.
Never grown up. I mean, if you've heard some of mine, you'll know that's kind of what I used to do that. I grew up acting in primary, and I joined a theatre group in Watford. Where we did a Blue Peter, and that was the first time I was on screen. It wasn't big. It was just the theatre group. Sorry,
get a badge.
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't the real Blue Peter, sadly.
Oh, that's a shame.
But we called it Green Nigel, actually. Yeah, just because Green Nigel. And it was our little
the gold.
Yeah. And it was. I remember that because they put a little camera in front of us and everything, and set it all up, and we had to talk to and obviously talk it through. And my line was the one in his one I made earlier. And do you know what? Guess who forgot that one line? Me!
Oh, no. Hey, I still do. Oh, no, to be fair. We're just talking about just now, it's always line. It's always the one line. You could, like you say, someone could say to you, I don't know, we're going to do like a monologue. and you sort of go, okay, that's fine, and then you sort of get through it and what have you. And if someone turns around to you and says, okay, I just want you to say your name to camera, you fall apart. That's it. It's gone. For some reason, that one little thing is always the thing that trips you up. So I'd have probably been the same on Green Nigel. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. Fantastic. I mean, there was one actually, speaking of my monologues, because I did it at uni as well, because I did Macbeth. I'm not in the theatre, I'm not in studio, so it's not the Scottish tragedy, or we can still call it the Scottish play, but it's, you know, obviously that one. That's the whole reason I got into acting in the first place. When I saw it in my secondary school, they did it. The sixth formers did it, and I just thought it looked exciting because they used real swords, and one of the sixth formers nearly had his hand chopped off. And it was just like, that was the curse of Macbeth. Then it was like, and I was like, I want to get, you know, I knew more. So I did it at uni and ended up with
me was a big draw as well.
Yeah,
so
it was brilliant.
I get that. It's the sort of I don't know. I enjoyed from a really young age. I think even before I started to understand it, I just loved the sort of the thing about Shakespeare. It was the best adventure, wasn't it? You know, there'd be a battle, there'd be, you know, somebody going after the beautiful girl, there would be fighting during something. Actually, funny enough, you're just talking about the swords. I had the privilege of playing Hamlet a few years, which was a bit of a mind mashing. But I don't know if you can see. I know this doesn't make great radio, but I've got a scar on my head.
We've got this on YouTube too, so don't worry, you can see that. Oh, right, okay,
there you go.
There you go.
And that's during Hamlet, during an evening's performance of Hamlet. The choreography sort of went a bit awry at the end, and the fella stabbed me in the arm.
Oh, lovely.
And I still carry that. So I always say that's like my going forward. You know, when I'm like a 90-year-old retired actor. Yeah, that's when I gave my Hamlet. You know,
that was my finest hour, Hamlet.
It's,
no, that's
cool. Shakespeare backfired that day.
But yeah, I mean, you've had a drama teacher as well, because obviously with the mysticism around Macbeth, if anyone said it even in the drama studio that we're in, it turned out that obviously you had to go out the studio, turn around 3 times, knock, and come back in again. You know, that was this. But I mean, I was lucky enough. I'm sorry, I'll take it back about me. I was lucky enough when I was 16 for my GCSEs drama.
Yeah,
we did 3 Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome.
Yes.
Now, at the time, now this shows how old I am, because it was 1992. There was that only had the script and the what do you call it? Screenplay, or not screenplay? The stage play had been adapted from the book. Literally about 3 months before we saw it, so it was brand new. No one had ever done it before. In fact, they hadn't even done it for the people who had been writing it for. So we got to do scenes from that as part of my GCSE drama. And I mean, I love 3 Men in a Boat. It was hilarious, but doing it on, you know, sitting in the boat and stuff, and we had to do that for oh god, it was good fun.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think, like you say, when you get those early look-ins at anything, it's always really, you know, it's exciting to see where something's going. So experiences of that sort of similar.
Yeah, so it's kind of claim to fame, really. Yeah, Chris Gordon was the first person to play to do Jerome K. Jerome on stage.
You can
in the UK.
You could drink off that. I think people.
Sadly, no one ever saw it apart from a drama teacher.
Well reviewed though.
Yeah, he gave me a B. He gave me a B plus. So yeah, there you go.
That's a good review. You know, that is a very strong review. That goes on the CV.
It does, yeah. Went horrendously wrong after that, because like I say, in Macbeth, doing the soliloquy as one of the lords with a proper tobacco pipe in my mouth, bit the pipe. School, a whole theatre full of kids, and and obviously they were all watched, because they'd come in from the schools to watch the play, to do the bit on the pipe, tobacco, slow motion, right out in front of me, and landed. And obviously all the kids had seen it and were laughing their heads off. There's me, big serious soliloquy about how bad Macbeth is and how he must save and do this, that, and the other. And there's me. And then I was the night watchman a bit later with a nightdress on, and I was sat on stage like a guy sits, legs open, you know, sat there completely forgetting the fact that all I had were boxer shorts on, and it was a nightdress, and I'm not used to wearing a nightdress. So I was sat there on the front, on the front of stage, legs apart, wondering why all these teen girls and all the lads were all sniggering. I think if it'd been now, I'll probably get arrested for that. But
yeah, I had an occasion actually years ago, after I just sort of graduated, and I did a pantomime, and it was it was really just after I'd left, so it was really sort of low end. It was like one of these tours. It was like a 5-hander pantomime round like these really sort of dodgy sort of venues, but like sort of social clubs. And I mean, some of the places are brilliant, but you get some of them that were just a bit on the grim side. But anyway, I was doing this character, and I had these sort of like bright yellow like pantaloons on, as you have in pantomime. And I was doing a little dance. I think we were singing Ghostbusters at the time. And I'm sort of dancing back and forth, and I feel this pop, and I look down, and these pantaloons have split in the middle, but so severely that it's sort of like from the front of, right at the front, all the way right round to the back, almost to like the top of the trousers on both sides. Well, it just so happened that this place that we're playing had this really high stage, and they'd sat the kids on the floor, just looking up, So I had to do the rest of the pantomime sort of, like waddling around with my knees tight and just thinking this. I mean, I'm borderline getting arrested,
Exactly, Hey kids, take a look at this,
That's definitely panto. I've got some great friends that are just fantastic sort of panto performers. I stand by. I think it's near enough a separate art form. I just think it's if you're good at pantomime, you can, it's
it's definitely an art. It is definitely individual.
Friends that are just the most phenomenal pantomime performers, and it's just a joy. It's joy. It's just, like I say, it's just joyful to watching it.
It is, yeah. I mean, one returns every year at Llandudno in North Wales, and he's just because he comes back because everyone loves him because he's just absolutely perfect with ad-libbing the lot, and it's just he fits that role. Cool. So so swiftly moving on before I get branded as everything, which I'm not, is with that obviously you've done a lot of screen work, and then I know you have done a lot of theatre as well in your time. So which one do you prefer? Can you say that, or is it just at the time? It's like whichever one you're doing at the time.
Yeah, it's tough. It is. It's I think again it's a very classic thing for an actor to say, but theatre's a sort of first love because it's how. 9 times out of 10, it's how actors discover acting, I suppose, via the stage. So yeah, for me, I love it. I think you can't replicate the feeling that you have when you're on stage, and when something goes well on stage, that's an incredible rush. But in recent years, it must be said, I've really got into the process of filmmaking. I really enjoy it. And I think I enjoy it because I like to see, obviously it's a lot, it's a little slower, it takes a lot longer, but I like the little intricacies and the little pieces come together to make the whole. And I've just sort of started to get on the other side of things. So I'm appearing in a film, hopefully that we're shooting in August, but I'm helping to produce it as well, which is interesting, to sort of be on the other side as well, and relatively stressful as well. But I mean, I do love filmmaking because I think like you say, it's great, and you really feel the different cogs in the team coming together, and for a fact that you look at anyone around you, could be someone from hair and makeup, someone from camera department, someone from sound, light. You think if they don't do their job, I can't do my job, and that lets down that person. And it's just a whole team effort, and I enjoy that. I really enjoy that. So yeah,
excellent. It's nice to hear that as well. Sorry,
I didn't give you a clear.
You still didn't give a clear. But no, you're right though. It's like I did 1-2 years last year film, so I kind of on a very, very tiny little bit. I've seen the difference between being behind the scenes of a film and then on the theatre as well, and there is a huge difference because I was sat there for 10 hours, just sat there doing nothing because my scene was 5 minutes long, and that was it. In fact, my scene's about 2 minutes long, but it took about 45 minutes to an hour for every, because they have to film. It's not just because when you see when you see something on TV, you see obviously it's so smooth and seamless that I'll be talking to you, but then all of a sudden the angle will change and you'll be looking from above or behind at the other person, and people don't realise that takes like literally several hours for the camera crew to set themselves up again to put
It's a massively it's a long process, and it's tight. And I think it's the strange thing, because I've got, as most actors do, I've got mates of mine that are great friends, some of my best mates who aren't, they don't work in the business. They and they sort of, sometimes I think they sort of go, "Oh, how's your day?" When you go, "Oh, yeah, I'm tired," and they go, "Eh, what you should turn up, you said a few words, but then you sort of say, well, it's quite draining, it is draining to do these sort of things. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm not complaining, because when I can be doing it, it's fantastic. It's a wonderful experience. So
you're right.
I'm not grumbling, but it is. I mean, it is. Like
it can be. I mean, like say, you can have 12-hour days as well, especially if you like stuff like what is it, like The Code, for example, or I mean, another one's 24 Little Hours that I was speaking to Neil for, filmed in 8 days. So when you've got time frames like that, it does take a lot out, because you've all got to work together so well. And
yeah, I mean, we had a day on 13 Graves where we had to be out of a location on that day, and we got hit by a storm, so it put us back by about a day. So it was about a day. So yeah, we all knew that basically if we didn't finish everything we needed to do on that day, that was basically the film in the toilet. It was make or break sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, that day I think we came in. We came in at the call time was about 5:30, so it was all up crack of the dawn. Got in, got set, started filming, but then obviously we didn't achieve the backlog that we had, so then we shot through to about 4:00 the following morning. Wow. But continue, but it had to be done. And that was what was lovely about that day, is that you felt that every member in that team was committed to staying until the job was done, and that to me is lovely. And I like that. It's
cool. Excellent. No, brilliant. So who would you like to most like? Oh, see, told you. Who would you like to? Who would you like to work with the most, from a director level and also from a fellow acting level?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. It's interesting because you could go in with the sort of stereotypical answers and say, oh well, Spielberg and all that sort of thing. Yeah. Then I don't know, on a lower, I mean, acting wise, there's certain people that I just love and I would love to be involved with. Stephen Graham for me has always been a huge inspiration. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's very real, gritty. I love those sort of gritty parts and that sort of thing. So he's a massive inspiration. Cillian Murphy, another one who I just think is phenomenal. If there could be a project that I was involved with, and I'm sure many actors say this in a minute, I think Peaky Blinders is well up there, because I just think it's phenomenal. I just think it's the best piece of television that's ever been made. Without me getting too, about it, but no, I think it's phenomenal. But I suppose from a director point of view, Scorsese would be the dream, I suppose, if you could work with anyone. It was a great story about actually Stephen Graham, about how he got a phone call off Scorsese about when he was offered the role of Al Capone.
Oh, right, okay.
And apparently, the story I heard went that Scorsese phoned him in his house. He lives in Liverpool apparently still, and he picked up the phone and he said, "Oh, it's Martin Scorsese." Yeah. And he immediately sort of thought it was his mates or somebody winding him up, and apparently told him, "F off," it's not, and hung up. And apparently Scorsese phoned back and went, No, it's Martin Scorsese. So yeah, that was. But I think that would be the dream scenario. But from an acting point of view, the people that I admire, again, Stephen Graham, Tom Hardy, of course. But then actually, one of the actors that really inspired me from a young age was Ray Winstone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I love Ray Winstone, and I don't know if it was because of my family. And he looked very similar to my dad, very similar to my dad. And I think that there was potentially something there that I saw. I think I saw in him potentially what I could do. I looked at him and thought, oh, well, if he can do it, maybe there's a chance for me, because he's this bloke that's like my dad, and those sort of people. He's a West Ham fan. He's from the very similar world that I'm from, and I recognise something in him. So yeah, he's always been something that I've looked up to a little bit as well. Yeah.
All right, excellent, excellent.
From a young age.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I know you said about Tom Hardy and Killian as well, because when I used to work at PlayStation last year, I worked at Sony Studios and PlayStation for 6 months. That was awesome. You know, t-shirt and shorts in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But at that time, I was gutted because obviously I was doing my show, and someone told me just at the last minute that Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy were filming Peaky Blinders literally a mile away from, or 2 miles away from where I was. I was like, I couldn't leave work. I was like, no.
Yeah, because you could have just gone over and gone.
Yeah, I had business cards in my wallet and everything. I was just like run over just to say, please, please get on my show.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I've worked with a few people now that have, you know, got some really, you know, some stars I've worked with. I've met a couple along the way, and I usually think that, you know, I don't know if I am, but I usually like to think that I'm fairly, you know, like cool about it and that sort of thing. But I think I would have a full freak out meltdown if I was on a Peaky Blinders set.
Yeah,
I think because I'm that much of a sort of Uber fan. I think I would, yeah, I'd get excited. Definitely.
Cool. Excellent, that's really great. I think I've spoken to 1 or 2 people who've done that, and they've ended up being on a show that they loved, and they were just like this, walking around going, "Wow!" It's like, you know.
Yeah. Like you say, I think I've been on a couple of TV shows, and that's a different world. I think when you get to those sort, because obviously, like myself and Neil as well, we do it, you know, indie films which are amazing, but you know, when you get on those sort of big budget television sets, you know, it'll only be maybe for a short stay or what have you, but it's just mental. You know, like it's like a different world.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean. Excellent. I mean, that is one that you're coming up with. 2 Graves is sort of a bigger film that's coming out. So, yeah.
Dude, this is going to happen. So Neil's got 2 Graves and I've got 13 Graves.
Oh, you got 13 Graves, so I'll edit that out again, shall I?
Very confusing. But,
yeah. So you've got 13 Graves coming out.
Yeah. 13 Graves should be. I think it's out this year. That's what they were aiming for. I don't really know. They don't really tell you anything, you know, about.
Well, yeah, they kind of go in post-production. You film it like Neil was saying with his. It's like you filmed stuff last year, and since then, obviously, you've been waiting for it to come out. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's sometimes the, like you say, you pour so much into it. You know, you work so hard, and you sort of, it sort of disappears for a bit, and then you come back, and I did that. But I recently wrapped up on 13 Graves, so we shot the bulk of it. You know, principal photography before Christmas, down on the south coast in Eastbourne, and then just last month actually we had to go back down and do a few pickups and stuff. But
cool.
It should be really cool. It's a great cast. The director was great, John Langridge. Give him a shout out. Was fantastic to work for and with. Just a lovely bloke. The whole team actually had a great crew. Really nice feel to it, and then. But funny enough, 2 projects recently, both 13 Graves and The Code. Yeah, it's a very common thing, I think, for an actor to say, "Oh, you know, I made great friends for life" and all this sort of thing. And I've said it in the past, and you sort of think, "I've said that," but I wonder if it's, you know, it will actually stay true or we'll stay in contact. Yeah. But both of those projects with The Code and with 13 Graves, I seriously mean it. I've made some really strong friends, like friends for life. The reason I actually ended up in The Code was because of Kevin Leslie. I worked with Kevin Leslie on 13 Graves. Yeah. I was aware of his, you know, I was very aware of his work with the Cray Twin films and that sort of thing, and I'd watched them and I really enjoyed them. So then I got cast in 13 Graves alongside him, and I was like, oh, this is great. And there was a slight mix up with the hotel. So when we were staying in Eastbourne, I ended up sharing a room with Kev for the whole duration of the shoot, which was fine, you know. Yeah. Got on really, really well. And it went on, and all the sort of people that worked on the film, a lot of the girls from like sort of hair and makeup kept saying, "Oh, you two, you could be brothers," because we were sort of running about and messing around and stuff. They said, "Oh, you sort of look like you could be brothers." And okay. And then The Code came about, and Kev was casting The Code already, and it was actually without giving anything away, it's about there's 2 of the characters are brothers.
Right. Okay.
So he said to Patrick, he said, "Oh, I know a guy who can play." So then I ended up, sort of bumping into that, which was lovely. But but no, yeah. So like I say, 13 Graves. Another shout out to the fantastic actor called Morgan James, who's just the most bloody lovely Welshman you ever like to meet. But so for a lot of that film, it was myself, Kev, and Morgan, and then we had some great guys coming in. Michael McKell was in it, who I mean was just incredible to watch work, and then Terry Dwyer again was just and such a genuinely lovely person as well, like really nice, like to the point where she's like since filming she sort of texted me just to be like, "You all right?" And I've been like, "Yeah, how are you?" And she's like, "Yeah, good." And then that's lovely. People do it. So no, it was a great experience, and I think it's I think we've done a good job. I think it's a really good little film. It's sort of a gangster film that then sort of morphs into a sort of folk horror.
All right, excellent.
Along the way, so it's good fun. It's
nice
good fun.
Terry keeps popping up as someone I might know on Facebook, and I keep geeking because I remember her from Hollyoaks. She was in it when I was sort of growing in that sort of era. So I keep looking at her and thinking, "Oh my god, that's her! It's her! She's someone."
Yeah. She played my mum in 13 Graves, and she was like the best on-set mum. She was just lovely.
That really makes me feel old. Thanks a lot, Jacob. Cheers for that.
But no, yeah. But no, she was lovely. She's a really lovely person. And like I say, Michael McKell, who obviously from Essex Boys, thing, and I, again grew up. I seen him growing up in the Essex Boys was a prime example because I grew up in Essex, so it was one of those films. That's supposed to be like a rite of passage. My dad was like, "You watch the Essex Boys." So yeah, I was buzzing, and he played my dad.
Cool.
And again, just a really lovely bloke. We met up last week. Actually, I met up with him in London for a pint and a chat, and that's nice. So he's a top bloke as well.
That's excellent. I mean, I know what you say about the code because obviously, you know, there is a lot of camaraderie between you all on that as well. Because I've seen it myself, and like say with Patrick, when I got one of you, that you all flocked, and it's like, you know, it's
one of these things where
talking together and sharing, and it's lovely to see, and I like that about the independent circuit, as I've heard from before. It's just a great thing, you know, because everyone, I think, the passion's there, whereas like you get into as much as everyone would want to be in the Hollywood blockbusters and earning what Dwayne Johnson earns, the passion in an independent film, everyone's so passionate about what they're doing, and that's what shows through, and I think that's what brings the community to better. It is a community, the independent, especially
massively agree, and I think that the great thing, like you say, with indie films, if you're willing to go to work and chip in and graft, then people will work for you. Do you know? I think that's how you sort of get that vibe that, you know, if you're going to go there, you're going to work hard, you're going to do your job, and you're a nice guy. You're a nice. You know, people will do the same in return. And like I say, the code was just jam packed with just the nicest people. And we actually had a day. There was one day we was leaving set, and me and Patrick and the incredible Richard Oakes, who I have to give a shout out to as well, who I think Patrick was talking about.
Yeah, he was.
Who's just a phenomenal. He's a genius. He's an absolute genius. But he was director of photography. So we were all just standing there, and we were just like, it's very rare that you just get this group of people that all of them. There wasn't one person that you thought.
Yeah.
Everyone was just lovely, you know. Like say, Kev was in it, who is an old friend. Robert Jukes, who is just again an absolute gem. Neil, who you were speaking to yesterday, was just one lovely bloke. We actually slept in bunk beds. I was filming the code, which was funny. So he was top bunk, so we got there first. The git, but a lovely bloke. Chris Mulvin, who plays, he's younger than me, I think, but he plays like a
don't spoil,
without spoiling anything. But again, ridiculous, lovely bloke, incredibly talented, and all the girls turn, and it just I don't know, the whole thing was just brilliant and just easy in very tough conditions. It became easy.
That's cool. I mean, one of the messages...
Filming one day, and it dipped to... we filmed right on the border of Scotland for the code to do the sort of battlefield stuff. And I think one day it dipped to, I think, -7, -8.
Ouch.
And it was brutal. It was fairly brutal. But again, we sort of somehow managed to have a proper laugh. So no, it was good. It was really good. There you go.
Brilliant. I mean, like I say, speaking about the code, it was Joanne Froggatt who'd messaged just before we started recording when I had to see what she wanted. It was to say, tell Jacob hi, lol.
Again, lovely. Absolutely. Like she's great, man. Like I said, the whole thing was just great. And then when the girls came in, actually, a lot of the stuff I was doing was filmed at this like dance scene. So it was like a soldiers' dance.
Right. Yeah.
And it was just a giggle. It was like going to a school disco. All of us were like all like happy and excited to see each other. We were just all having a laugh. Kind of didn't feel like work that day a little bit.
Oh, excellent. That's really cool. And I mean, we'll go through some of the other films that you got coming as well. But I mean, I want to highlight something that you've announced today as well. Is the fact that you're going to the Cannes Film Festival. Was it last night or today? But you've basically the Cannes Film Festival. So that's got to be a nice big feeling. That's like the premier film festival. Well,
it's exciting. It's my first year of going. Obviously, everyone knows about the Cannes Film Festival. So I was really excited this year. It's 13 Graves is going to be there, which is really cool. And then obviously the likes of Little Glass Pictures, which is Patrick's company, which I'll be there, to lend any support that I possibly can. But yeah, no, I'm really excited, and funny enough, I'm going out with Kev.
Okay.
So that's great. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be. I don't really know what to expect. Like I say, I've never been before.
Yeah.
I just want to go and sort of, I suppose, try and learn how it works and that sort of thing. Meet people that are out there and want to make some films, and
Excellent.
maybe see what happens.
No, it'd be a good time. I'd love to get to something like that one day. I will.
You'll
see me you'll be on the red carpet, and you'll just see me stand in the background. Hey, Jacob, remember? With the mic in my hand, yeah.
Get yourself out of the barrier.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it'll be too many red carpets, man. I don't think it'll be that sort of thing. But like you say, I want to go there and meet people and chat and just like say take the opportunity just to talk about making films.
Yeah. So, no, it'd be great opportunity for to do something like that. And I say because that's where everyone goes. It's you've got people from independent film right through to the Hollywood greats.
I got a bit nervous actually because you have to send off. I didn't know you didn't have to do this, but you have to send off all your CV and photographs and IMDb links, all this sort of stuff, and they assess whether you are accredited to come as an actor to Cannes.
Oh, right, okay.
And it basically, I've been told since that it's, you can go, but you just can't get into certain areas.
Right.
But it took ages to get a response. So it was like, oh, it's pending. And then I got like, Kev texted me and was like, oh, I've just been accredited. Yeah. But he's been years, he's been a few years.
Yeah.
He's like, my accreditation's come through. And I was like, I'm not going to get accredited here. I started to think, I don't think I'm going to be able to go, or, I'm not going to be able to go how I wanted to go. But luckily, end of last week, the email came through and I sort of wiped the brow. So, that was good.
That's fantastic. I mean, I think it was, can't remember who pointed it out before. They've gone up in the world on IMDb, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I think the score was a really good score, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Then I checked mine out, and I was like 633,000. I was like, great.
Mate.
Got a slight way to go up that ladder.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think every time, like when I first joined IMDb, I think I was millions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
one of those, I don't know how the algorithms work, but I mean, I don't expect to be high on it, to be honest. My show's on it, so you're going to get another IMDb credit for this because
it's cool, isn't it?
Hellblazer Biz is on IMDb, and it's got a 9.7 out of 10 rating with 17. Someone gave it 1, and I wasn't that one. Someone gave it 1 or a 4-star.
Hey. We'll find them.
Yeah, they're entitled to it. It's a free world. They're entitled to it. But if I find out who it was, I'm coming for you. Liam Neeson.
That's a warning. Who's listening to the podcast? That's a warning. He'll get you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
So you get credit on there.
Well, hopefully, I mean, for you as well, the IMDb, it will just creep up.
Hopefully, sure. Yeah. It might do. Might not do. There's about 50.
I'm sure it really will.
There's about 30 Chris Gordons on there, so maybe a name change would help.
Yeah, I got really lucky because I think I'm blaming it. I reckon I probably just had a dyslexic family member.
Right.
There's very few Andertons.
Yeah.
A lot of Andersons.
But no Andertons.
When it went to like IMDb and those sort of things and Spotlight and all this, when I put in Jacob Anderton,
Yeah.
I honestly think it's probably just, knowing my family, I probably just had a predecessor who just misspelt it.
Yeah, and it's just carried on through the line.
You know, that'll do. So I think that's probably how it came about. I think. Yeah. So no, I got away with it. So Jacob Anderton, I can claim most of the time. So that's all right.
Excellent. What's your favourite genre itself then? Obviously to watch, I'll say, rather than and to act in, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of, like I said before, sort of gritty. I like a lot of British drama, actually, sort of gritty British drama. Gangster films. I used to love, when I was a bit younger, I used to love sort of epic sort of, like your Gladiators and Braveheart and all that sort of thing. I used to love those sort of epic battlefield sort of films. I've always had a thing for history. So I like sort of stuff that's set in the past. But then I'm fairly open-minded. And then, on the flip side of that, I don't mind a rom-com. Given all the people listening, a good one though. I don't mind an old school sort of, Notting Hill, bit of a classic. Let's be honest. You can't. You almost want to sit there and go. You almost don't want to like it, but then you find yourself by the end going, "Oh, this is bloody lovely."
Yeah. There's this film. You've got Four Weddings and a Funeral. Richard Curtis, aren't they? And then you've got Love Actually. I mean, I've got to say, I am a huge fan of Love Actually. I adore that film. It's just so. Again, it was just. I think it was for, even as a rom-com. It was obviously definitely, but it was just the way it was brought together. And Hugh Grant, even just his little. Yeah.
I mean, just for. It's got to be well up there for the best Christmas film, hasn't it?
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Got to be taking a good percentage of the votes.
Yeah.
But no, like I say, I think first and foremost, if there's something that I'll go out my way to watch, it's usually, if you could tick all these three boxes, I'm watching it. So if it's gritty sort of British drama that's set in a previous, time period, I'm probably in. That's why Peaky Blinders ticks all the boxes. But yeah, so that's sort of the thing I like. Yeah, I would say.
Excellent. No, that sounds cool. Don't blame me again. Historical stuff. I like getting in there as well, because there's some of it I don't like, but yeah, like Peaky Blinders is great.
Yeah,
I love the previous stuff. I mean, from another side, from a genre, there's a few games which take you right into it, because I'm a gamer as well, but. The storylines, they're coming out so. They're so film-like now. Anyway, like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, it's Victorian era, and it's just amazing because it just takes you right back into it. And Sherlock's, that Sherlock Holmes.
Exactly.
We've got the modern one, but obviously I like the modern one. But yeah, I do like the ones which the proper ones, which are set in the right time period and stuff. Because
I think, and again, it's one of these things that are it's interesting, isn't it? I did a film called Ripper. On my IMDb there, but it was just there's a brilliant director called James Campbell, who I'm hopefully working with. This is the chap I'm working with in August.
Yeah,
but he's a lovely bloke, but he just comes up with these brilliant, crazy ideas. Like, I'm going to do this film, and he'll just give you this idea. So he came to me one day and was like, right, I want to do a film. It's loosely based on a Batman graphic novel.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, but in this graphic novel, Batman is in the Victorian period and he's going after Jack the Ripper. And I was like, okay. And he's like, we're going to do it, but we're going to set it in London. And, we're going to have all these crazy characters. I want you to play the grown-up version of the Artful Dodger. I was like, what's going on? But we did it. And and I have to say, it was a great experience. And I loved it, and it was really, he made it sort of quite gritty and grimy, and yeah, it was good. It was really good fun. Really good fun to be a part of. That was good. I enjoyed that one. But again, like you say, he just took something like Batman.
Yeah.
And he had this great costume, and it was like this guy Donald Stanton played Batman.
Right.
And amazing guy. He was a stand-in for Christopher Reeve. Is it one of the Batmans? Christopher Reeve?
No, Superman.
Sorry,
Christopher
Superman.
Reeve was the original Superman. Well, not the original Superman.
So Donald Stanton was a stand-in for Christopher Reeve in Superman.
Right.
So he was like this huge guy, big build, sort of suave sort of hair going on. And he just looked the business when he got this suit on, and it was sort of like a steampunky Batman costume. It was really cool.
Awesome,
really cool.
awesome. There's some great places still in London where you can actually get on location. I mean, you just walk around London. I mean, I walked around London. I used to work in Borough.
Yeah.
And you walk around, just walk. I mean, walk past and found Crossbones Graveyard.
Yes.
And I never even knew that existed. And it's where all the paupers were buried. And there's meant to be thousands of them.
Not only set of a Batman film in Victorian London, but also decided that, for money reasons, I think a large part of it, to shoot in the north of England. Mental. So we just went round and he found all these amazing we used a lot of like open air museums that were like Victorian streets and that sort of thing. Hire them out for an evening or what have you, and we just go and shoot. But it honestly is London. And then it was funny you mentioned before Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah.
A moment in Ripper where Batman stood on top of a building. He's sort of, overseeing London.
Yeah.
And you can see London in the background, St. Paul's and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think this is right, the guy that did all the graphics for Assassin's Creed Syndicate gave him that footage, gave him that graphicked cityscape to use because they were friends. So there's a moment in that where apparently the backdrop is from Assassin's Creed.
Nice.
Which I think is really cool.
That is actually really cool. And you wouldn't change, so you wouldn't know a difference because the graphics on the games now are so real anyway.
Good. And obviously it's sort of the background. You've got the actual footage in the foreground, and that's
awesome.
Yeah,
brilliant. So I mean, I know you got a few other films coming out. You've got a whole load of films coming out as well, and stuff coming out. You've got like the Moonshine Gang of Cheyenne.
Yes. So this is the film. I think on IMDb it's still down as a short, but it was again this same director who did Ripper, so James Campbell. Lovely guy. Again, he has these incredible sort of harebrained ideas, and it's now morphed into a feature film that we're hoping to shoot in August time, I think.
Okay.
And it is a western, but it's a western with a James Campbell twist, of course. So it's a western. Without giving too much away, it's a western film that involves werewolves.
Right.
So which sounds, I mean, I'll be honest, when you first hear that idea, I sort of was in the camp of going, all right, I mean, I'm not sure, that sounds a little bit, I'm not sure if that sounds a bit lame or whatever, but then I read the script and I was just like, he's nailed it. It's so cool. Like, it's so cool. It's so well written. It feels like bordering on a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
We've had an amazing sort of. He had a great run of luck with a great guy called Carl, who's just come on board, who was actually one of the co-writers on Sherlock and Black Mirror and Annihilation. That's just done really well on Netflix, and he's come on board as a co-writer and a producer. So we're currently putting the script together. Well, we're on, I think, into the draft 11 or something like that. But it's just more and more getting it's just growing and growing. And we've just started this week. Actually, we've just started putting in some of the calls to the castings that we want to make. Yeah. I can't really say much more than that.
That's fair enough.
It's very exciting. We're talking to some really exciting actors that seem keen. So we're in a good place, I think. We're in a good place.
Excellent.
So hopefully shooting that in August. Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll keep you on with you then, so I can keep on board with that one.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I mean, obviously you got The Bond That Kills as well, which was about you're going across the moors, and from what I can read, you come across a secret cult.
Yeah, so that was that's again it's a sort of a Northern England contact that has a fantastic actor called Dylan Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Who came to me with an idea, and he's a great actor. He's had a really good career actually. He's from Sunderland. He's got like a thick Sunderland accent. Lovely guy. But he came to me with this idea, and they did a film. I'm trying to think of the name of the film now. It did really well. Did The Herd.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
A horror film. And it was really grim, really grim. It was like sort of flipped the whole concept of cows being herded and human being used in the same. Grim idea, but phenomenally, really well done. And the lead actress was one of the girls from Walking Dead.
Right,
but
okay.
I can't. It escapes me which one it was. But brilliant performance, like across the board. So this was an idea follow-up project to that. So it's a different story, but it's hopefully the next film. So yeah, we've had a few talks. That's sort of where we're at with that at the minute. I've not started shooting or anything, but yeah, so that's exciting. That's
cool.
exciting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything else that you've got coming out that you'd like to mention?
I'm trying to think. So yeah, so there's a couple of ideas with Patrick again, but he mentioned I think he's sort of, so hopefully I'm going to work with Patrick again, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I suppose apart from there's not a lot I can talk. There's a few, but there's not really
that's
sort
what
of
you can say because
start talking about because like get in trouble. But no, yeah. So like I say, 13 Graves hopefully out this year, and then the Code equally. I think they're trying to.
Trying to get that next couple of months, I think, isn't it? But yeah, he didn't want to commit. I think it was May, June. I think he was. Yeah,
more. Look at that.
Patrick said that. You see, so I'll let that happen.
yeah. But no, I think, like you say, and I have to say, just really quickly on Patrick. I mean, I've been wanting to work with Patrick for a long time. I've always been a massive admirer of his work, and I just thought he had a great eye. He's a brilliant storyteller, and I was so excited when I got the part.
Yeah.
And like you say, I can't really tell you anything about the story, but it's brilliant. And I think what he's managed to achieve in such a short space of time on a story that's so difficult to tell because of the costumes, because of the equipment, just because of the circumstances that you're trying to recreate.
Yeah.
I honestly think that the man is brilliant, and I think that Patrick Ryder will, he's going to go.
Oh yeah, I fully agree. I watched a few of his things now, and they're just so, everything about them, production, the acting, the quality, the story, everything is just so spot on. And the stories I've watched, I watched Human, Chimera. They're the two I've seen, and both of those are, one I had tears in my eyes at the end of because it was just like really powerful.
Staggering. And say the combination of him and Richard Oakes shooting things.
Yes, because
it's staggering actually because Richard Oakes is again an absolute genius at what he does. So the combination of the two and watching them work, which was a great pleasure for me as well on the Code. It was a few moments where I had a bit of downtime, I had a cup of coffee, and I was just watching them work. It's just a pleasure to behold. Really was.
Because the cinematography on them is just astounding as well. It's just absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very exciting.
Excellent. Brilliant. So now I've got a question which I want answered because I know we talked about this because we reached out to people to send questions in, and like you said before, your family seemed to spring right on board here.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, cheers for that.
There's one which is from Som. Is it Som?
Oh, yeah. That's not his real name.
I was going to say, yes, I'm guessing it's a nickname.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, this one interested me. The other ones you answered anyway, and I was just laughing at because I thought they were funny. This one, he wants to know if you ever cheated in a puzzle escape room in Edinburgh just so you could beat the other team, who incidentally played by the rules and to this day are not bitter in any way.
I don't think they'll ever let that go. I don't think that's never going to be so. Little bit of context, but my dad got remarried a few years ago, and we had a sort of, in inverted commas, a stag do. It wasn't really like a really laddish stag. Yeah. Basically, all the blokes from my dad's side of the family, we went up to Edinburgh, and I was myself and my younger brother. We were sort of joint best men, and I'd arranged a few things to do. And one of which, obviously a lot of these gents, they're in their 50s. Mm-hmm. My dad's nearly 60, but I don't say anyway. So they'd never done an escape room, and I managed to book an escape room.
Yeah.
Have you done an escape room?
I haven't done one. I know what they are, but we almost did one in Edinburgh, to be honest.
Booked one, and there was 10 people, I think, 10 blokes on the stag, and there was 5 sort of an older generation, and there was 5 of us that were sort of myself and my cousins, I suppose, at sort of our sort of age. So we split off, and the rooms were next to each other, and apparently exactly the same game. Right. So it was like a race. Yeah. So, and I'll be honest, we smashed it. We absolutely smashed it. And I think they really thought, especially my Uncle Steve, if you're listening to this, Steve-O, I'm going to call you out. I think my Uncle Steve thought they had it licked. Before they went in, I think they thought, come on now. we've got worldly wisdom. Do you know what I mean? We've been around for a while. We've got this down, but we did a good job. I think there was like a first room. You had to complete the first room, and then like a secret door opened, which was pretty exciting at the time. And yeah, I think they nailed the first room, and then we caught them up and beat them in the second room. And they just can't, to this day, can't face the fact that the younger generation, their offspring, as it were, managed to outwit them. Cool. But we did.
Fair enough.
I'm standing by.
In the words of Reza Morton, they just didn't let it lie.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Cool.
But anyway, that's all there is to it. We won. Full stop.
Yeah, cause I could tell from there that not bitter in any way was really, yeah.
There you go. You see, obviously still living in the past, still trying to recreate their wife they won.
Never mind. Yeah, sore losers.
Yes.
Excellent. Right, I'm going to move on to my final question, Sally. Now, which is, you've cheated, you've prepared. I'm going to call you out right now.
Awful, really. You know what I mean? That's sorry. I listened to Patrick's podcast and I heard you speaking. So mainly, it's your fault for having an enjoyable podcast because I listened all the way to the end. You see, so
that's true. Yeah, the fact is that that's the point.
Yeah,
I can actually tell those who've listened all the way to the end and those who haven't, because those who listened, like you'll actually know what the question is. That's actually a good. Yeah, it's a good one. I've been note that down.
Sort of anxious about this question. Actually, I've been sort of deliberating about it all sort of week. So I think I have an answer.
Cool, excellent. So what Muppet would you be if you could have a Muppet?
Right. Okay. I'm gonna for my answer for this, I'm gonna bring Kevin Leslie in.
Right. Okay.
We spoke about before. Great actor, friend of mine.
Yeah.
Great friend of mine, and I'm gonna bring in, and I'm naming it for him. He may disagree. I know you're speaking to him next month or something.
Hopefully, yeah.
He may disagree with this. I'm gonna combine us, and I'm gonna say that we are the two old men that sit in the box.
Statler and Waldorf.
There's the names. And I think the reason is because we spend a lot of time saying gags that only us two find funny, sitting giggling. So I think that's my answer. And also, I find the gags funny, which I think's a bad thing. Like, I remember there was one time, I found it really funny, and they said something like, that wasn't half bad. And the other one went, no, it was all bad. Yeah. And I thought it was hilarious. So if I can appreciate the comedy, I feel like I'm on a similar wave.
Those two always made me laugh.
I'm going to stick with them as my answer, I think.
Okay, fair enough.
Way around though, we need to work that out. Maybe Kev can help me with that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one is which, but they always made me laugh. To be fair, they just throw these little anecdotes out there, and it's just.
I think I'm going to stick with that. That's my answer. I think.
Especially when Fozzie and Gonzo come on. I think was it Neil? Who did it? It was Patrick. You were my waka.
Yeah, you can't be Fonzie though because no one likes it, do they? I think that's the problem. Yeah, if someone says Fonzie, you're going to be like,
Fozzie.
Oh, bless you, mate. Yeah,
Fozzie, because Fonzie's like
Fonzie. As you said, Fozzie. Sorry, yeah. Get my Muppets and my Happy Days mixed up.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm hoping to be able to.
Always happens.
Oh yeah. One of those things, isn't it? Just goes on. I'm actually I've reached out and I want to try because the Muppets are coming over here for the summer. Into London doing a thing in O2. 3 tickets. Yeah, 3 tickets was 360 quid, which was a bit dear. So, if you're listening, Muppet people, I really want to come. And I want to, but I've actually put a little thing in to try and interview the Muppets. Not the guys behind the Muppets, but the actual Muppets.
The actual Muppets.
Yeah, I would just love to be. Just imagine sitting there.
Tell you what, that's the dream interview, isn't it?
Yeah, because I could do you could do Kermit.
Doesn't matter. What people want to see is the Muppets.
Exactly. I did one little interview. Not interview. I did a sketch for. There was a girl who was sick, sadly, and she'd asked for some birthday greeting from a celebrity, and I managed to put a little thing together just through the contacts I had. It wasn't me; it was just them, and I edited it together. But I did a Muppet impression in there, and all I did was put a picture of Kermit and Miss Piggy up, and apparently the kids who watched it.
Sorry, mate, lost you there. Sorry,
that's all right. Yeah. Apparently, the kids in the class when they saw this and heard that Muppets turned around and were like. Oh, the Muppets, that's big time, that is. They actually thought my impressions were real. So I was like, get in!
Actually thought you were the Muppets?
Yeah, they thought I was the Muppets, because I was doing, I think it was, Piggy? Piggy?
That's good. That is very good.
It's like, you're needed over here, Piggy. We have to give a message for this girl here. It's her birthday. You just said you were coming, and it's Miss Piggy.
Get out of town.
Hey, what are you talking about? I am the only diva here. You cannot do this.
Mate, it's a genuine. I'm not being funny. If you honestly get to interview the Muppets, there could be a job in this, mate. Yeah. There could be a definite job.
Voiceover.
Just go in with that.
Yeah.
Interview them as the Muppets. Interview the Muppets as the Muppets.
Yeah, do the Kermit. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, but, you know.
I did actually sing one point as well. I did sing. I've got somewhere on Smule, the little, because I love that little Smule app now and then. Just do the karaoke, and I've got on there a recording of me, because I used to do it as a joke. I did the bare necessities, like alright, server, bare necessities, you know, that kind of thing. But I did the Rainbow Connection as Kermit. I mean, it's obviously not in tune very well because of my singing, but it's like, why are there so many songs about rainbows? So,
I mean, if anyone was listening to that, that is just Kermit.
There you go.
Yeah, you need to get the listeners to, I mean, petition or something. I mean, I don't know how many people there is that voice Kermit, but I certainly think you could be in the squad.
Like, yeah, exactly. You know, get in that team, maybe back up
at least
Kermit.
First reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
Kermit. Do you know what I mean?
Reserve Kermit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think fair, mate. I think fair.
Excellent. Anyway, before I stop the recording, is there anything you'd like to say to people?
I don't know. I suppose. Thanks for listening. If you are listening, that's nice. And I better give a shout out because currently I'm doing a play at the minute called Rainbird, which is about a painter. It's a brilliant play, but I better give a shout out to any of those guys if you listen. And also, it's right up in the northeast of England, so it's near Newcastle. So if you're in the Newcastle area, come see it. It's about a local hero from that area.
Okay, cool. The Rainbird.
Yeah, I don't know. Apart from that, thanks for listening, and check out. Make sure keep an eye out for 13 Graves and The Code, and also the Moonshine Gang of Cheyenne, which will probably be out next year, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Cool.